Our story today is about a fearless man, someone so capable that he feels he doesn't need anyone else. But can one man really handle everything alone? Can he truly face life's greatest challenges without help? That's what we're about to discover in today's story. The story begins with a man named Pearl. He is waiting for some goods near a bridge, but while waiting, he dozes off. Suddenly, his sleep is broken when he discovers a hidden bag. Curious, he takes the bag back to his car, and when he opens it, he is shocked. Inside are several ancient artifacts and mysterious objects. He runs a few tests on the items and realizes that these objects actually belong to an alien ship, and their value could be in the millions. Excited, Pearl immediately calls his friend Ignacio, who was the one that had first made this discovery. When Ignacio hears the news, he tells Pearl that what he has found is nothing compared to what still lies beneath the waters. Treasures far bigger than this. Pearl asks Ignacio to form a team and get everyone working on this mission, promising to pay him up to 5,000 grands for the effort. After this, Pearl decides to share his discovery with a research institute, because he needs the funding of a big company to move his project forward. On the way, he tries to call the institute's director, Anna Yale, but nobody answers. He tries again, dialing different offices of the institute, but still, no one responds. Finally, when he reaches the institute building, he is stunned to find that there's nobody there. It looks as though the office never even existed. Confused, he returns home and attempts to contact other researchers, but once again, no one responds to his calls. Exhausted, Pearl falls asleep, and in his dream, he sees a man drowning in water. Shocked, he wakes up, disturbed by the nightmare. Later, he decides to talk to his little daughter, Bunny. He logs into a video game and enters his virtual character's world. Soon after, Bunny also joins the game. Pearl tries to share his discovery with her, since Bunny works as an environmental artist. But just as he begins to tell her, her mother calls her away, and Bunny suddenly exits the game. Frustrated, Pearl goes back to sleep, but again, the same nightmare haunts him. The image of a man drowning. You see, Pearl carries memories from his past that keep tormenting him again and again. We'll learn more about that as the story unfolds. When he wakes up, a thought strikes him. He immediately calls Ignacio and asks him to give him Anna's home address. Pearl gets into his car and starts driving there, but on the way, he suddenly receives a call. He thinks perhaps Anna is finally reaching out, but when he answers, it's not her. Instead, he hears a man's voice. The caller introduces himself as Dr. Christopher Mercy. He explains that Anna is away on some personal work, and in her absence, he is currently running the research institute. He also mentions that all other employees were given the weekend off. Dr. Christopher then asks Pearl about his discovery, wanting details. But Pearl refuses to reveal anything. He says he doesn't trust him because he worked too hard to make this discovery, and he only trusts a handful of people. With that, Pearl ends the conversation. Just as the call ends, Pearl immediately receives another call. This time, it's from Ignacio. Pearl was told that the boat drivers were refusing to work with them. To this, Pearl suggested offering them better payment so that they would agree. Right after that, he reached Anna's house. He rang the bell several times, but no one responded. Out of frustration, he forcefully entered the house, only to find it completely empty. Disappointed, he thought of calling Dr. Christopher directly, but before doing so, he asked his AI system to research more about him. That's when Pearl discovered that Dr. Christopher was actually a retired military officer. Just then, Ignacio called back to inform him that even the divers had refused to continue working. Now, with no money left and no one willing to invest in his project, Pearl decided his only option was to strike a business deal with Dr. Christopher. After finalizing the deal, Pearl went to the location given by Christopher, where a bike was delivered to him. Using that bike, he traveled to the final destination. There, he handed over the mysterious object to Dr. Christopher, and in return, received a huge sum of money. Excited, Pearl immediately tried calling his friend Nash, but he didn't answer. A little later, Anna called him and revealed a shocking truth. Dr. Christopher had suddenly appeared and taken over their company. She was stunned to learn that Pearl had sold the very important object they had been searching for. Anna further told him that Dr. Christopher worked for an institute called the Hollow Organization. Meanwhile, Pearl decided to double-check the cash he had received and discovered it was fake. That meant Christopher had tricked him by taking the real object in exchange for counterfeit money. Furious, Pearl swore to get his object back. He asked Anna for Christopher's address. While giving it, Anna warned him that Christopher was a very dangerous man, but Pearl didn't care. He only wanted his object back. That night, Pearl checked into a hotel directly across from the Hollow Corporation office. From there, he called Christopher and demanded his object's return. But Christopher refused. Instead, he said that if Pearl wanted real money, he should reveal the exact underwater location of the UFO he had discovered. When Christopher refused to negotiate further, Pearl made up his mind he would steal back the object himself. Using his wit, he sneaked into the building, but when he opened the locker, it was empty. There was nothing inside. Disappointed, he almost gave up until he overheard some staff members talking about transporting a very special and important item in a van. Pearl quickly hid himself on the side of that van and followed it to the destination. There, the driver, Terry, called Christopher asking what should be done with the object. Christopher instructed him to place it inside a storeroom. When no one was around, Pearl stepped out and checked the boxes, only to discover a submarine inside. That's when he realized that Christopher was indeed after his research. Pearl immediately left the place and called Ignacio, warning him to secure the UFO location as tightly as possible because Christopher would definitely be coming for it. After that, Pearl returned to his hotel room, only to find the whole place ransacked. Among his belongings, he discovered a hidden tracking device, which made him realize Christopher had been monitoring him all along. Pearl smashed the tracker and also disabled all nearby surveillance cameras. After destroying the tracking device, Pearl also disables all nearby surveillance cameras. Then he calls Anna to ask about Dr. Christopher's exact location, convinced that the object must be hidden inside his house. Before heading there, Pearl stops at a store to buy some gadgets. While shopping, he also picks up a small birthday gift for his daughter Bunny. The next morning, guided by Anna's directions, Pearl arrives at the location that might be Dr. Christopher's home. He waits until no one is inside, then quietly sneaks in. Searching the house, he finally discovers the object hidden in a freezer. Overjoyed, he grabs it, but suddenly, he hears the sound of a virtual game, the same one he often played with Bunny. The speakers are blasting the game loudly, even though no one is there. Alarmed, Pearl takes the CPU of the computer with him and quickly leaves. On the way out, he is overcome with worry for Bunny. He rushes to his ex-wife Greg's house to check on her. Greg isn't home but answers through the CCTV system. She tells Pearl that just a while ago, a car came and took Bunny away, claiming they were taking her to meet Pearl at a sale. Hearing this, Pearl panics. But when Greg presses him for answers, he pretends it's true so she doesn't get worried. Then he takes her car and speeds toward the coast. When he arrives, Pearl spots Dr. Christopher, who has Bunny with him. Just then, Pearl receives a call from Christopher. He warns that unless Pearl reveals the exact coordinates of the UFO he had found underwater, he will drown Bunny. Terrified, Pearl gives him the location. But the moment Christopher gets what he wants, he throws Bunny into the ocean. Since Bunny is in a wheelchair, she cannot swim. Desperate, Pearl dives straight into the sea to rescue her. This moment plays out exactly like the nightmares he had been seeing for so long. After the traumatic event, Pearl continues working with Anna on delivery jobs. One day, however, a reporter attempts to expose his identity. Pearl barely manages to escape. From his conversations with Anna, we learn that Dr. Christopher is still missing, and because of their dangerous research, Ignacia has already been killed. Later, Pearl visits Greg's house again to see Bunny, but Greg is furious. She accuses him of being careless and blames him for Bunny's kidnapping. She threatens to demand full custody of Bunny at the next court session. Hearing this, Pearl is devastated. Soon after, he attends Ignacia's funeral. There, an idea strikes him. He immediately calls Waldo, the man who had earlier refused to work with them, a refusal that indirectly caused Ignacia's death. Witnessing the pain at the funeral, Waldo feels guilty and finally agrees to help. He gives Pearl the coordinates of the ship Dr. Christopher had used to search for the UFO. Pearl rushes to the exact spot and time when Christopher had returned with the UFO. From different angles, he captures several photos of the ship, planning to study them later. Afterwards, Pearl returns home and once again tries to play the virtual game with Bunny. At first, she is angry and reluctant, but eventually she joins in. While playing, Pearl shares the UFO images with her. Excited, Bunny's mood changes. Their conversation turns to family, and Pearl opens up about a painful childhood memory. He recalls going to the beach with his parents when he was young, where he met another boy. At first, they played happily, but then a fight broke out. In anger, Pearl pushed the boy into the ocean. Since the boy couldn't swim, he drowned. From that day, Pearl had been haunted by recurring nightmares of drowning. Hearing this confession, Bunny is saddened but reassures him that, as his daughter, he should have been able to share such memories with her. Suddenly, while playing the game, Bunny notices something wrong with the UFO's position. She quickly adjusts it within the game, and the two realize something shocking. The UFO isn't just lying at the bottom of the sea. It is actually digging deep into the ocean floor, collecting more and more information about humans. This discovery horrifies Pearl because the last thing he wants is for such powerful knowledge to fall into the hands of dangerous people like Dr. Christopher. The object is now in Pearl's hands, and with determination he sets out to execute one last mission. First, He disguises himself as Terry and takes his place as a delivery man. Using this cover, he enters one of the hollow operations buildings, claiming that Dr. Christopher himself had instructed him to deliver a special package. Believing his story, the staff load the mysterious object into Pearl's truck. When Pearl checks, he is relieved to see that the real object is indeed with him. But just then, he receives a call from Dr. Christopher. The doctor threatens that if Pearl doesn't return the object, he will kill Greg and Bunny, claiming to have already kidnapped them. But from his words, Pearl realizes something crucial. Christopher hasn't kidnapped them yet. He is on his way to do it. Without wasting time, Pearl rushes straight to Greg's building. Inside the elevator, he comes face to face with Dr. Christopher. Pearl lands a powerful punch, knocking him unconscious instantly. He drags Christopher's body into a car, fills it completely with water, and leaves him to drown. This is the end of Dr. Christopher. With his enemy gone, Pearl resumes his pursuit of the UFO. He decides to partner once again with Anna, who now works with NASA. She immediately agrees to join him. Before setting off on this new adventure, Pearl visits Bunny. She excitedly tells him that NASA has appreciated one of her artworks, and she's about to start working with them. Proud and emotional, Pearl then visits Greg, apologizing for his past behavior. He also explains that he will soon be leaving on a new research mission. Hearing this, Greg forgives him. Finally, Pearl and Anna begin investigating the alien technology together. As they study the UFO, a sudden flash of blue light bursts out from it. To their astonishment, they realize the aliens are actively communicating about humanity. So friends, this was today's story. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit the like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. Our next target is 300 subscribers, and your support can help us reach it even faster. We'll meet again very soon with another exciting movie story. Until then, take care and goodbye.